to you, sir.
Thank you, Commander Wharton, faculty and staff, distinguished guests, friends, and colleagues. In 1961, a British surgeon practicing in the United States used his shirt to successfully repair an aortic aneurysm. Faced with no grafts available, he instructed his nurse assistant to get his shirt out of his locker. He then cut out a rectangle of cloth, sewed it into a tube, soak it in iodine, and promptly fix it in place. Charles Granville Rubb, an innovator. And sometime in your practice, my dear residents, you will be one. Just take home the principles learned in this training institution, and you could devise and innovate the methods you need to solve your problem. You are the cream of the crop, and you will be the product of the most prestigious institution in the country, if not on the whole planet. And so a lot will be demanded from you and expected from you. But don't you worry, you will receive more in return, not only in terms of personal satisfaction, but on your professional upliftment and fulfillment as well. Innovation should not stand alone. It has to be integrated into other systems through collaboration. And that is what we aim for in the Asian Collaboration for Trauma. The integration of innovations in trauma and injury care through collaboration with other trauma systems of other countries across the globe. Because innovation coupled with collaboration produces excellence. Our organization is a federation of national associations and institutions involved in trauma and injury care. It is a relatively new organization with vision and mission that are still being developed, championing diversity in a global scale with networking of interested people. The federation was created in order to address the needs of the member countries to strengthen national injury-related data systems development, including injury surveillance, health information systems, and vital registration. Its mission is to enhance trauma management in the region through multidisciplinary and interprofessional collaboration in education, training, and research. The Federation is actually an offshoot of the Singapore Trauma and Acute Care Conference, which began in January 2005 as an extension of the definitive surgical trauma care course being conducted at the Tan Tock Seng Hospital under the leadership of the late Professor Vijayan Apasamy and Professor Chuming Turk of Singapore. Dr. Ismail Saibun from Malaysia has always been a speaker in the conference and brought his trainees to Singapore trauma regularly for a couple of years. He thought of expanding the conference to Malaysia and conferred with Professor Chu. They came up with the idea of the Malaysia Singapore Trauma Symposium, or MAST, which was run twice, and during those days, between 2008 to 2010, Professor Chudora Herbosa of the Philippines was working with Professor Ismail Saibun at the University Kebangsaan, Malaysia. The former suggested to include the Philippines in the organization of the Trauma Symposium and proposed to alternate between these three countries. After a few rounds of discussion, among the four of them, they decided to hold an ASEAN Trauma Congress. It was in Bacolod City where the ASEAN Collaboration for Trauma was officially launched during the first ASEAN Trauma Congress on May 12, 2012, hosted by the Philippine Society for the Surgery of Trauma. It was conceived to be a movement, not a society, that will get all the players or experts in trauma management in the region to be involved. Here in Bacolod City is where Professor Naren Chotirosnaramit of Thailand joined, and so the ASEAN collaboration for trauma initially included the four countries, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand. The first executive council was formed and Dr. Herbosa was elected chairman. The second ACT meeting took place in the resort city of Pattaya, Thailand on July 10, 2014, with Professor Naren Chotirosniramit as chairman. The meeting started with a Skype conference call with Professor Russell Gruen from Australia, Dean of the College of Health and Medicine at the Australian National University in Canberra. He briefed about the setup of the Asia-Pacific Trauma Quality Improvement Network under the World Health Organization to look into quality improvement in trauma care in Asia, basically through the sharing of experiences and stories amongst the different countries. The third ASEAN Trauma Congress took place in Johor Bahru, Malaysia, in conjunction with the Johor Trauma Update held on September 16, 2016. Dr. Russell Gruen was again invited to brief the members of the Asia-Pacific Trauma Quality Improvement Network before discussing on the proposal to adopt and merge it under the ASEAN Collaboration for Trauma or a bigger Pan-Asia Trauma Group. To this end, and with the participation of non-ASEAN countries, notably Hong Kong, South Korea, and Sri Lanka, Mr. Chuming Turk proposed that the ASEAN Collaboration for Trauma be the Pan-Asia Trauma Group and be renamed as the Asian Collaboration for Trauma. The fourth meeting of the Federation was held in Singapore on April 20, 2018 with Dr. Teo Lee Cheung as chairman. Most of the topics discussed involve around the conduct of DSTC in Asia, trauma fellowship opportunities amongst the members of ACT, and the creation of the ACT organizational structure. This was followed by the fifth meeting of the ACT leadership in South Korea on April 5, 2019. During this meeting, the Philippines won the bid to host the next ACT meeting in 2020 and Sri Lanka in 2021. Just as we have started preparing for the sixth ACT meeting in Subic Bay and U.S. military naval facility, news of a global viral threat began. Everyone is anxious and beginning to fear. Then the situation worsened and there was a global lockdown. The global COVID-19 pandemic of the year 2020 has been quite a phenomenon that nobody expected. It is with deep regret that we canceled our meeting scheduled on June 10 to 12, 2020 at Subic Bay, the former United States Navy installation. The excitement that we felt in anticipation of seeing each other face to face was replaced by exasperation and frustration. Despite these mournful events, we felt the need to continue staying relevant and make an impact on each other's lives. We felt the need to bring the meaning of collaboration into life, and this crisis that we face have given us an opportunity to be connected and coordinated with as little finances involved and in a much simpler form of communication. With this in mind, I requested Dr. Teo Lee Cheung for a meeting using the Zoom platform. On November 16, 2020, we had our sixth ACT meeting on a virtual platform with 19 attendees representing 14 countries. The topics which were tackled in this meeting included the Asian Trauma Registry, the Traveling Fellowship Program, the invitation and criteria to join ACT, online workshops, and the nomination for the next ACT chair. The last topic culminated in my election as the next chair of the Asian Collaboration for Trauma. During the following weeks, Mr. Chuming Turk and myself had several conversations on how to keep the ACT fire burning, and we decided to hold webinars which we named Active or the Asian Collaboration for Trauma Interactive Virtual Encounters. With our fighting journey through the pandemic, we were able to deliver our educational goals through a novel and virtual platform. We have conducted a total of 20 webinars with 80 lectures. We have covered topics on vascular trauma training, trauma systems, controversies in trauma management, damage control resuscitation, critical care, war surgery, humanitarian response, terrorism, acute care surgery, and the future of trauma care. Notable amongst the webinars were the following: the June 2021 webinar on improvisations and innovations, featuring the lectures of Colonel Mark Boyer on simulation training in critical care, and Professor Mayur Narayan on improvisations, the MacGyver of trauma. Another notable webinar was the August 2021 webinar entitled Doing Trauma and Leaving a Legacy, the Spirit of Collaboration and Passion for Innovation. This was a tribute to the late Mr. V, as he is fondly called, Professor Vijayan Apasami, one of the founders who passed on during an ATLS conference in Chicago. The October 2021 webinar is about leadership in trauma and injury care, featuring the lectures of foremost American trauma surgeons, Doctors John Files, Raul Coimbra, Karen Brazel, and Andrew Pachman. Our distinguished fellows who have contributed a significant amount of their time included Professors Kenneth Beauford and Elmin Stein of South Africa, Professor Mansour Khan of the United Kingdom, and Professor Ramon Gustillo of the United States. We have created a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, a Twitter handle, and a WhatsApp chat where everyone can access the lectures that we have conducted during the past 2 years and beyond. The WhatsApp chat group is also a venue where everybody can contribute regarding their experiences in trauma and injury care. Finally, we held an Asian Trauma Congress in New Delhi last November. The meeting was held at the Jawaharlal Nehru University Convention Center. It was well attended and there was much camaraderie felt and experienced. Everybody was excited to see each other face to face. Dr. Amit Gupta in India was elected chairman for 2023 to 2024. ACT is now composed of 288 fellows and 22 countries. There are 70 national organizations making up the federation. These countries get together and being passionate about doing something on the global stage. It has a team spirit of collaboration and passion for making the field more welcoming to those who are underrepresented. Serving as chairman of ACT was a real start for me to work in a formal way with other trauma surgeons from around the globe. We have met certain objectives, but there were also areas which needed to be accomplished, and one of the critical features of our goals was to encourage and increase the membership of ACT to make it one of the biggest and strongest organizations of trauma care educators and providers in the whole world. We have collaborated with institutions and organizations participating in the integrated military partnerships and civilian trauma systems or impact study of the program for global surgery and social change at Harvard University, in which Commander Walton and Captain Mada are principal investigators. We are part of the social media team of the Journal of Trauma and Acute Care Surgery of the American Association for the Surgery of Trauma. We are now a partner society of the World Coalition for Trauma Care, and we have collaborated with the Ambrose Paré International Military Surgical Forum, and soon with the International Society of Surgery, or IATSIC. It could really take a long time to really get to where we want to go. And pulling people from around the globe is really very exciting. It's been inspiring to meet people who are interested. And I would say that one of the most fascinating things is finding their differences and challenges, whether it be gender, race, or religion. We wanted to see different types of culture where people feel they belong and people care and achieve the goals that they want. We need to start educating prospective trauma surgeons to be communicative, and this means learning the language and having a good command of it. This could be a great challenge, especially for people who seldom speak the English language. We are happy to have greater participation from active members of national trauma organizations. We are trying to make the trauma environment more diverse, but more cohesive, and there is a lot of collaboration that will happen along the way. Collaboration is some of the fun path of really the driving diversity. When I received an invitation from Lieutenant Commander Megan Whitlatch to present the 26th Charles G. Robb Distinguished Surgical Lecture, I humbly accepted the invitation without hesitation because I thought that our federation must be visible and recognized not only in Asia, but also on the entire planet as well. The goal of ACT is to attract people who believe in what we believe. The goal is not just to bring in people who wants to join the organization. The goal is to pull people who believe in what we believe. We have to be driven by a cause, by a purpose, by a belief that if we could get all the national organizations and nations in Asia to collaborate on trauma and injury care, it would change the course of history. Belief is what drove Dr. Charles Robb to use that piece of nylon cloth to repair an aortic aneurysm. Belief is what drove men to land on the moon. Belief is what made Dr. Walter Reed confirm that yellow fever is transmitted by mosquitoes. Belief is also what drove us in the Asian Collaboration for Trauma to be innovative, integrated, and interconnected with other trauma organizations across the globe. Gentlemen and ladies of this august body, the great scientist Albert Einstein stated, "The problems we face today cannot be solved with the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. Therefore, we have to be innovative. We have to find new solutions for our present problems." The French military surgeon, Augustin Belos, who served during the Piedmont-Savoie War, which ended in 1696, also said, "That which is new at this time will one day be ancient, as what is ancient was once new." It is not the length of time which gives value to things. It is their own excellency. You, my dear residents, are the future of trauma and injury care in this planet we call Earth. You have the technology, the equipment, and facilities to save casualties in extremis. You have all the capabilities to save lives in war and in peace. And with your innovations, nonetheless, your inventions and their integration into the system of trauma and injury care through collaboration with other trauma and injury care providers from around the globe, you will go down in history as surgeons with excellent works on the art and science of surgery. The ACT is ready to support all your endeavors in whatever undertakings. We both have the best inquisitive minds. We both have the strongest unyielding spirit. We both have the kindest hearts, which would perpetually beat to the drums of unending glory. I stand before you to invite you, my dear residents, the faculty and staff of this prestigious institution, to join the Asian Collaboration for Trauma so that together we may address the sufferings of our people. Rally before us that you may enlighten our way. Rally behind us that we may have the courage to move forward. Rally with us, and together let us make this world a better place to live. Thank you very much, and I wish you all a wonderful Global Surgery Day. Thank you.